Change his guest. I'm going to just take a walk back down through here and let people identify themselves. For those of you, you'll recognize some of these, but we're going to start right back here. Tell us who you are.
I'm Roy. I'm the son of the founders of this chapel.
Amen. Amen. And?
I'm Linda. I'm Roy's mom.
All right.
Founder of the chapel.
All right. And?
I'm Hannah Sappington. I'm the administrative assistant for Crosswalk Journey Ministry.
All right. Very good. And?
I'm Dennis Cole, the founder of Crosswalk Journey Ministry.
All right, Dennis. We'll be hearing from him a little bit. And?
I'm Bud Lynn, and you're welcome, and thanks for coming and being a part of us. We're so honored to have you with us here in our little chapel. Pastor Wiley Drake, we love you.
Thank you, brother. God bless you. I'm so glad to be in this chapel and be a part of this chapel ministry. And we're going to have another, guest come on here in just a little bit. But I want to say to you that one of the things we're looking forward to, and I would ask y'all to pray about this and put it on your calendar. I've already shared this before, but I'll share it again because we are on the air again and we get a different audience every day. In 1789, the men that were leaders in this country, we were a young country, and the men in this country said, we need a king. And they went to a man named George Washington and said, George, we need a king. And George said two things. Number one, he said, we just fought a war. We just got rid of a king. We don't need another one. And he said, even if you had a king, I don't qualify. Later on, the Congress met. The Electoral College was designed, our nation was designed, and they voted unanimously to vote George Washington in as the first president. And he did his inauguration speech, his inaugural address, at 26 Wall Street. That was our capital then, the Federal Building, 26 Wall Street. He did his inaugural speech. And when he gave his inaugural speech, he got a standing ovation, and the congressmen were the first ones to stand. He reached over and grabbed the hands of each of the congressmen and led them out of the Federal Building, down about 2 blocks to Broadway. And they turned right and walked up Broadway to 209 Broadway. And at 209 Broadway, there was a little chapel, St. Paul's Chapel. And he led them in there and led them in a prayer and said, if this nation, this experiment called the United States is going to work, it's only going to be under prayer. And so the first Congressional Prayer Conference was held there at 209 Broadway. And it's been going on ever since. On April the 30th, I don't know where you're going to be or what you're going to do, but I would encourage you to pray about this. On April the 30th, we're going to walk in to the Federal Building at 2600 Wall Street. And we're going to read George Washington's inaugural address. We're going to walk outside and walk up Broadway, following the same steps that he took. And if we can find his prayer, we're going to read his prayer there at St. Paul's Chapel. We're going to reenact what happened 225 years ago. And that's going to be a commemoration for that inaugural speech, for that prayer, and for that walk. And I hope you'll join us. I don't know what the Lord wants us to do. I've had several people already call me and say, well, you ought to do this, you ought to do that. I said, well, let me just tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going. I'm walking in the Federal Building, and I'm going to walk that walk. And anybody that would like to go is welcome to be there. And whatever else God does with it or through it, that's up to him. I'll leave it up to him. But I just believe 225-year commemoration of that great man of God who believed in prayer, who believed in America. I believe we can honor God by honoring him and his testimony of 225 years ago. That'll be April the 30th in the year 2014.